My family mocked me for years. They laughed at my dreams, called me a failure, and said I would never achieve anything. But the day I signed the papers for a $1 million mansion, everything turned upside down. I will never forget the look on their faces when they saw the photos I sent. Wide eyes, fake smiles, and the kind of silence that speaks louder than insults. My name is Noah, and I'm 35 years old. For most of my life, I carried the weight of being underestimated. I was the lazy one, the daydreamer, the man who would never have a stable career or a decent life. Every family dinner was a chance for them to remind me of it. But what they never saw was how much those words fueled me, how deep that fire burned inside. The day I closed the deal, I drove straight to the mansion, stood in the empty living room, and laughed. Not because of the money or the house itself, but because I finally had proof that they were wrong. I wasn't the failure they had painted me to be. I was the man who took every insult and turned it into motivation. That night, I sent the first picture to the family group chat. The front gate, tall and heavy, with the mansion rising behind it. For a full 5 minutes, no one replied. Then the comments came, one after another. Whose house is this? You're joking, right? This can't be yours. And in that moment, I knew the story was only beginning. A week after I bought the mansion, my mother invited me to a family dinner. Normally, I would have found an excuse not to go, but this time I accepted. I wanted to see their reactions in person. When I walked in, I felt the air shift. My brother, Daniel, smirked like he was waiting to catch me in a lie. My sister, Anna, avoided eye contact. My parents were strangely quiet, as if they didn't know how to approach me anymore. Tell us, Noah, Daniel said between bites. How does someone like you afford a place like that? You never had a real job. Don't tell me you won the lottery. His voice was full of sarcasm, and the others laughed nervously. I looked him straight in the eye. I worked. I invested. I failed 100 times and got back up 101. That's how. For the first time, Daniel didn't have a quick comeback. He just stared at me, then scoffed and said, "Sure, keep your secrets." But I could see it in his eyes, doubt mixed with jealousy. The same man who once told me I would never be more than a loser crashing on couches was now choking on the reality that I owned something he could never dream of. The dinner went on with fake smiles and half-hearted questions. Yet under the surface, I could feel the bitterness growing. That night, I realized something important. This wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about preparing for the storm of envy and resentment that was about to hit me harder than all their mockery ever did. Not long after that dinner, I started hearing things. A cousin called me, saying he overheard my brother Daniel and my sister Anna talking about me. They didn't believe I had earned the money honestly. They told people in the family that I must have been involved in shady business or maybe laundering money. When I confronted Anna on the phone, she tried to laugh it off. Come on, Noah, people talk. You can't blame us for being curious. Curious? I snapped. You're spreading lies. After all these years of mocking me, now you're trying to destroy my reputation because you can't handle the fact that I proved you wrong. She didn't answer. She just hung up. That was the first moment I realized my success wasn't going to unite my family. It was going to divide us even more. A few days later, my parents called me over. I thought maybe they wanted to apologize or at least understand me better. Instead, the moment I sat down in their living room, my father crossed his arms and said, "Noah, tell us the truth. Did you really buy that house? Or are you pretending to impress people?" I couldn't believe my ears. "Dad, I signed the papers myself. Do you really think I'd lie about something like this?" My mother jumped in, her voice sharp. "Then where did the money come from? You never had a stable career. People don't just wake up and buy a $1 million mansion." I felt my chest tighten. For years, all I wanted was their approval. Now, even with proof in front of them, they refused to believe me. I worked hard. I invested in projects you all laughed at. And now I'm here. You can't accept that because it destroys the picture you built of me as a failure. The room fell silent, but my father's face turned red. He finally muttered, "You're not the man I raised if you think money makes you better than us." I stood up. "No, that money doesn't make me better. But the way you mocked me all these years, that's what made you worse." I walked out, leaving them stunned. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the one sitting there ashamed. They were. It didn't take long before things got uglier. One evening, I received a call from a friend who worked at a local bank. He told me my brother Daniel had been asking around, trying to find out details about my finances. He even hinted to people that maybe I owed him money, as if he had helped me reach success. That I was furious. I called Daniel immediately. "Why are you dragging my name through the mud? Haven't you done enough already?" He laughed. "Relax, Noah. People just want answers. You show up with a mansion out of nowhere, and you expect everyone to believe you worked for it? I'm just giving them something to talk about." "You're jealous," I shot back. "You can't stand the fact that I made it without you. You want me to look like a fraud because it's easier than admitting you were wrong about me." The line went quiet for a second. Then he said coldly, "You think you're untouchable now? Watch how fast people turn against you." I hung up, but his words echoed in my head. I realized this wasn't just family drama anymore. My own brother was ready to ruin my reputation out of spite. That night, sitting in my empty mansion, I understood something. Success doesn't only reveal who you are, it reveals who the people around you truly are. And sometimes, the truth is uglier than all the insults they ever threw at you. Not long after the fight with Daniel, my sister Anna decided to take her turn. She showed up uninvited at my mansion one afternoon. At first, she walked through the rooms quietly, touching the walls, staring at the chandeliers, looking impressed. But then her words came out sharp. "You don't deserve this, Noah. You? Living in a place like this while the rest of us struggle? It's disgusting." I stared at her in disbelief. "Disgusting? Anna, I work for this. Nobody handed it to me. You think I don't deserve it just because I refuse to live by your rules?" She folded her arms. "You think you're better than us now. But don't forget, family always talks. People will believe what we tell them." That's when I realized my sister wasn't just jealous. She was ready to turn the whole family against me. Later that night, I checked social media and saw vague posts from her about fake success and dirty money. It was obvious who she was talking about, that I felt anger boiling inside me. But more than that, I felt disappointment. For years, I dreamed of the day my family would finally respect me. Instead, the bigger I became, the smaller they acted. That night, I made a decision. I would stop chasing their approval. Whether they believed me or not, I was done begging for their acceptance. A week later, my parents asked me to come over again. I almost refused, but something inside me wanted closure. When I arrived, I noticed the tension immediately. My brother and sister were already there, sitting like prosecutors waiting for a trial. Why father cleared his throat. "Noah, this has gone too far. Your brother and sister told us things about how you really got that money. We can't ignore it." I clenched my fists. "What exactly did they tell you?" Anna leaned forward. "That you're involved with shady deals. That you use tricks to get rich. People are starting to whisper, 'Noah, do you want the whole town thinking we raised a criminal?'" I looked straight at my parents. "After all these years, after all the times you laughed at me, you'd rather believe lies than admit I proved you wrong?" My mother's voice trembled. "We just want the truth." I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "The truth? The truth is I worked day and night while you mocked me. I sacrificed friendships, sleep, even my health. And now, when I finally have something to show for it, you accuse me of being a criminal." My father slammed his hand on the table. "Don't raise your voice at your parents." I took a deep breath and said, "If respecting you means letting you destroy me, then I choose myself. From now on, keep your distance. I'm done." The room fell into silence. For the first time in my life, I walked away from my parents not as their disappointed son, but as a man who no longer needed their approval. After I cut ties, I thought things would calm down. Instead, my family doubled down. A month later, I learned that Daniel and Anna had gone to distant relatives, spreading stories that I had cheated people out of money. Some of those relatives stopped talking to me, others avoided me in public. Then came the worst blow. My parents showed up at my mansion gate one evening. My father shouted, so loud the neighbors could hear, "You're destroying this family with your lies. We'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are." I walked out calmly and looked him in the eye. "You can scream all you want, but the truth doesn't change. I made it on my own. You can't accept it because it kills the picture you built of me as a failure." My mother cried, accusing me of turning arrogant. Daniel smirked behind them, like he was enjoying the show. I knew then that they weren't after the truth. They were after revenge. But something unexpected happened. A neighbor, Mr. Harris, an older man I had helped with groceries a few times, came outside and said, "Leave him alone. That young man worked harder than any of you give him credit for." I saw it with my own eyes. The look on my family's faces was priceless. For once, someone else defended me. Their plan to ruin me in front of others backfired. They left that night furious, but I felt stronger than ever that it was clear. My mansion wasn't just a house anymore. It had become a symbol, a reminder to them that I had risen above their cruelty and nothing they did could take that away. Not long after that ugly scene at my gate, I got a call that surprised me. It was from a local business owner, Mr. Collins, who had heard about my story. He said, "Noah, I admire how you turned things around despite all the doubts. I could use someone like you. Let's talk about a partnership." We met the next day in his office. He laid out an offer to invest in a new project that could bring in millions more over the next few years. As I listened, I felt both proud and nervous. This was proof that my hard work had real value, that people outside my family believed in me. But when word got out, the backlash was immediate. My brother sent me a bitter text. "So now you're playing the big businessman? Don't forget where you came from." My sister posted online again, this time not even hiding the target. "Some people think money makes them respectable. Truth is, they'll always be trash no matter how big their house is." For a moment, I almost let their poison get to me. But then I realized something. Their anger wasn't about me. It was about their own failures. I was a mirror they couldn't stand to look at. I shook hands with Mr. Collins and accepted the deal. That night, sitting in my mansion, I finally felt it. The peace that comes when you stop living for other people's approval and start living for your own future. Standing on the balcony of my mansion one quiet evening, I looked out over the city lights. For years, I dreamed of this moment. Not the house itself, but the feeling that I had finally proven myself. Yet as I stood there, I realized something important. Proving myself to my family didn't matter anymore. They mocked me, doubted me, and when I succeeded, they tried to destroy me. But in the end, their voices didn't build this house. My work did. My sacrifices did. My persistence did. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who will fight hardest against your success. Don't let that stop you. Use their doubt as fuel, and let their insults push you further. Anyone listening to my story, remember, your worth isn't defined by those who refuse to see it. It's defined by what you do when no one believes in you. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If my story gave you strength, I'd be grateful if you subscribed and left a like. Not for me, but so this message can reach more people who feel alone in their struggles. Trust me, one day, the same people who laughed at you will be forced to watch your rise.